Walk That Line is back for week 4 after a killer week 3 where we went 11-4, made up for a really bad week 1 where we played 25 games and went 7-18, and we've made up for it. We are officially at 500 now, but if you really would have played since the start of week 2, the beginning of week 2, my record since then is 19-9. So we're starting to get in a groove and a rhythm. We're hoping to continue it. So make sure you guys like the video. If you like the video, subscribe for more content. And find me over here on TikTok. If you just look up Bash the CFB Show, you should be able to find it over there. And here's the disclaimer before we get into this video. This is not gambling advice. This is just my simple plays to be competitive and what I like for the weekend. If you decide to play it on your own time, that is on you, not on me. With that being said, let's get straight into it. Rice right now playing -1.5. I debated taking it off because the game had already started, but this was a lock for me ever since Tuesday morning. So I'm on Rice right now, and I'm going to take it. I gave it out to a lot of my close friends and didn't keep it much of a secret over there. So if you can live line that, go ahead and do that, because I believe, regardless on where it's at, I'm watching the game now, Rice is going to pull this one out. Arkansas, -7.5 at Memphis. I also think the over is going to hit in this game. Arkansas is going to score a lot of points. It's going to be electric. I think they also win by double digits. I think this Memphis offense has the ability to have a little bit of success, especially as the game goes along. However, I really don't see them containing this Arkansas offense whatsoever. I think that Arkansas is going to put up a lot of points, and this game is going to be somewhere in the range of like 45-27. Louisville, -26.5 versus Bowling Green. Bowling Green got a huge win last week against Liberty. Louisville, a little bit hungry, right? I mean, they're still waiting for their big statement. I think this Louisville team is really solid. Isaac Brown, a playmaker, a game breaker to watch out for over there. North Carolina +7 at UCF, excuse me. I know a lot of people don't think North Carolina is very good. I don't really think they're all that good. But I definitely think that they're improving. When I watched them last week against Richmond, and albeit it was Richmond, I was pretty convinced that they were a better football team. And also, I think UCF is much worse than TCU. I think UCF is much worse than I thought they would be, just based on the first game against Jack State. And you can't really tell much from the North Carolina A&T game. So I'm going to take North Carolina to at least keep it within 7, but I really think North Carolina could easily win this game outright. How about this one? Michigan, Nebraska. We're taking the under 47.5. This is going to be a fun game to preview, and I'm going to release that preview tomorrow, so make sure you guys tune in for that. I really like this game as a defensive battle. I mean, you saw Nebraska in a higher profile week 1 game against Cincinnati on Thursday night. That was low scoring. I think their offense is going to struggle a little bit. I also think Bryce Underwood's going to have a little bit of issues on the road at Nebraska. So no matter who I pick to win, and I'm going to save that for the preview, I think the under is going to hit. This is going to be a defensive game. Western Michigan +14.5 against Toledo. Western Michigan lost a heartbreaker a couple weeks ago against North Texas. This is a team that can be pretty competitive. They're much better than an 0-3 record would indicate. And I think this Western Michigan team is going to be feisty at home against Toledo and keep it within 2 touchdowns. That's all I'm asking. Just keep it within 2 touchdowns. This one, UConn. This is a huge bounce back spot for UConn. And meanwhile, Ball State ended up sweating out a victory against New Hampshire. Ball State's very bad. And I think UConn is a lot better than what they showed last week against Delaware. I think when you watch that game against Syracuse, you saw for 3.5 quarters that they were a pretty good team. I think that they're going to be able to dominate Ball State here and get right in a major way. Buffalo -6.5 against Troy. I have them winning by double digits. I think that Troy is not a very good team. Buffalo played down to their competition last week. I think their defense is capable of far more. And I think that they're going to shut down this Troy offense completely. I don't think Troy is going to be able to eclipse 14 points. I think Buffalo will be in the range of 24 to 35 points. Therefore, I think that Buffalo will be able to cover 6.5. Notre Dame -25.5 versus Purdue. Purdue impressed me last week, but this is a huge system play to me. This is Notre Dame coming off of a loss, playing against a team that they are better than. They are better than. This would be a dangerous spot for them if they didn't lose last week. But they are more talented. They are much better than Purdue. I think that if they get the opportunity to just hammer Purdue like they did last year, they're going to do it. So I'm taking Notre Dame minus 25.5 in that game. Eastern Michigan plus 2.5 versus Louisiana. If you can wait for a 3, get a 3. Now, I will also say this. I think Eastern Michigan's going to win at home. I trust Chris Creighton. They have played very, very poorly. But again, Louisiana, a little bit of a mess. It faded them last week. It paid off for me last week. I like Eastern Michigan to win this game outright at home and trust in Coach Creighton up there, who I think is a fantastic football coach. Kansas, minus 12.5 versus West Virginia. West Virginia just had a huge win against Pittsburgh in overtime a week ago. This is a Kansas team and an offense that I was very impressed with early. I think when you're talking about fringe top 25, Kansas would probably be a top 25 team if they would have held on against Missouri. I think this offense is very explosive, and they showed that against Missouri. I think that they're going to bounce back at home in Lawrence and be able to beat West Virginia by more than 12.5. Western Kentucky, minus 9.5 versus Nevada. Nevada looked pathetic last week against a Middle Tennessee team that I was not very high on. It was one of my 4 losses last week because I trusted Jeff Choate in that squad. Now you got to turn around after that rough game and you fly all halfway across the country and you got to deal with this passing attack that Maverick McIver is directing. I think Western Kentucky is going to absolutely demolish this Nevada team. 9.5 is not nearly enough. I'm taking the Hilltoppers for the second time this year, and we are 1-0 playing the Hilltoppers. About LSU, 39.5 points, lay it versus Southeast Louisiana. Another team we are 1-0 laying the points with is LSU. We did indeed take LSU plus the points against Clemson. They end up winning outright. That was one of our 7 wins week 1. I really like them to hammer here because their offense has not looked very good. And now that you have the ability to really flex your muscle with the speed that you have at wide receiver, I think LSU is going to completely just demolish them. I think 39.5 is not right. I think it'll probably be like 66-7. UTEP, minus 6.5 against UL Monroe. I like this UTEP team. I like them defensively in particular, but their offense is showing a little bit of hope. Their defense was able to contain Texas last week, and I don't think that's a hangover spot because I think if UTEP was realistic, if anything, they came out of that game with an increased amount of confidence. That's going to help this team. Meanwhile, when you watch UL Monroe, they are a shell of themselves from a year ago. I think this UTEP team is much better. I think they win by double digits. I'm taking UTEP minus 6.5. So there you go with all the plays for this week of Walk That Line. We're going to get all 3 previews going in the next 3 videos. I'll see you guys in those videos. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already for more content on college football.